Hi, this is a Minute of Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now this week I want to talk about Apple rejections. Okay, so I missed last week. I'm really sorry about that. I said I'd do this every week, and then last week I missed a week. I was having loads of technical trouble, and then I just sort of, everything got away from me. So one of the things over the last few weeks that I've really had trouble with is Apple rejections. And yeah, if you release apps on Apple, Apple rejections are just a part of life. The only reason it doesn't say death, taxes, and Apple rejections is just because it's so new, right? However, if you are an Apple developer, you might have noticed lately that like in the last few months, the approval process has gotten really, really short. Like it used to be, 10 days or 2 weeks, or sometimes you were lucky if you had 7 days, and lately it's been like 1 or 2 days. And it's kind of funny because we had a client project which was for like a trade show event. And I told them that we had to get development done with 2 weeks to spare, right? I said, under no circumstances are we going to still be changing things 2 weeks before the event. And of course they argued and they said, yeah, but we really need, we need everybody and their dog to approve it and all this kind of stuff. And in the end, I argued and we released it with like 9 days before the event. And I said, we'll be lucky. Hopefully it'll be ready before the event. And of course Apple approved it like the very next day, right? So egg on my face. But it's still good to have that buffer. Anyway, lately Apple's been really, really good, but and they've been like releasing we've been going through a whole nother bunch of bubble bath games, language games. So we've been submitting, and everything's been going through fine. However, they seem to be picking on one of my apps. So it's one of the Italian bubble bath, which is the bubble bath games. You go through, the bubbles float up with the words in them. You go through, you pop the bubbles, and it says the word, and you learn Italian words along the way. We have a free version and a pro version. The pro version was approved without any trouble. The free version, like loads of trouble. And like if you look at my screen here, here's the approval process. So you can see, prepare for submission, waiting for review. The first time through it was metadata rejected. Now the reason for that was because, and I've told you this a few weeks ago, I think it might have been the last video 2 weeks ago, where I said we usually put as many keywords in the title as we can, but sometimes Apple will approve that. So the title was Italian Bubble Bath, Learn Italian, Pop Bubbles, and Have Fun Free Edition. They didn't like the Have Fun and Free Edition, so I shortened it to Learn Italian and Pop Bubbles, and that went through. It was rejected again a second time because they said if you made a purchase through in-app purchases, it didn't remove the ads right away. It wouldn't do it on the screen that you were on. It would go to the next one. So fair play, that was good. In fact, I've gone through and republished all the other games that had that defect in it. So that was good that they caught that. In-app purchases are one of the hardest things to test because you can only do it so many times. Right, and then it was rejected a third time, putting it through the review process. And this time they said we were missing the restore button. So if you have something that has in-app purchases that's like non-consumable, and somebody buys it, they should be able to restore it and not have to buy it again. However, there was a restore button. They just didn't know what it was. So I went back to them and said, no, the restore button is right there. Right, so finally it went through and it was ready for sale. However, I had to fix that a few other problems, so I put the paid version through and they rejected the screenshot. And let me just show you the screenshot that they rejected, and you see how long it takes to guess why it was rejected. Okay, do you see it? Now you might think, because when I first saw it, I said, oh, there's a problem with the screenshot. It must be because we're doing a picture of the device inside the thing and everything like that, rather than just showing the screenshot. But that wasn't it at all. The problem was that the device on the screenshot was not an Apple device, right? If you look at the button, it's not round, it's not an iPad, it's not an iPhone, so we had to redo the screenshots for that. And again, that was just the pro version. The free version still has those screenshots. And a lot of times with Apple rejections, now if you do an Apple app, you're going to get rejected sometimes. When it's your own app, it's fine. When it's a client's app, they ask loads of questions. They want to have meetings and really just have to resubmit it again, right? So there's loads of reasons. I mean, in the past, we've been rejected because we talked about, this is also available on Android, and that was going through fine, and they started rejecting it because we're not allowed to talk about Android. We've been rejected because they said our our icons all look the same, and it looked like we were spamming the market. We've been rejected because we had like a little bit at the bottom saying about Overpass, kind of the same as at the bottom of this YouTube video, like about Overpass. Overpass does apps and blah blah blah, right? They said that was too much, so we took that off, and stuff like that. So there's all kinds of reasons why Apple will reject you. But again, it is a single reviewer. Like if your app gets rejected at once, I think, in my opinion, it's going to be sort of looked at more closely each and every other time. Other times it just goes straight through. So anyway, what I thought would be interesting is if in the comments of this video, if everybody kind of posts some of their reasons why their app was rejected, and just because those are the main ones that I've had. And again, when I release an app, I kind of like 70% think it will go through. Like I think I kind of expect it to be rejected for something stupid, like they don't see the restore button or something like that, which is fine. They're doing their jobs. And I kind of wonder if if it's I think it's better. I think it's better that the reason they have quality is because they go through and do that approval process. Google just lets everything go through. And by the way, like a year ago, I loved working with Google much more than I liked working with Apple. Now it seems like if Google rejects something, they might just suspend it and not say anything to you, which is awful. That's happened to me a couple of times, whereas Apple will reject it and give you a reason why, and you could go through it and make those changes. So anyway, that's it for this week. Apple rejections, they're a part of life. Deal with it. Yeah, I hope that's been fine. I'll talk to you next week. Oh yes, and I don't have an outro this week. I mean, all the gnarly and the Snapchat and all that stuff I say at the end of every week, apparently it's annoying. So I'm gonna, I'm gonna come up with something new, which is gonna be cool and all that kind of stuff. But for now, I'll just hit the main points. Like and subscribe, follow on Snapchat, leave a comment, and then we're gonna end with the little girl that comes up, just because we worked so hard on that one. And here she comes. See you next week.